Hey folks, today we're going to be going through the process of wiring up your local computer to a GitHub Pages account. It's a free file hosting service, website hosting service that you can use. In particular today, we're going to use this to publish our PreTeXt documents for the public to be able to view our open source textbooks. So, first of all, what we see in front of us is actually not my local machine because I want to do it on a clean new virtual machine that's being hosted by CoCalc. CoCalc is really good for having virtual machines for doing mathematics related work, but it actually does not work with this process out of the box because you have to, not for free, you have to pay for the paid level of CoCalc service in order to do this process. So if you don't want to pay for a CoCalc subscription, then you can do all these same steps on your own local computer. You can even install VS Code, which will look very similar to this. Microsoft's code editing software, VS Code, looks pretty much exactly like this. You can have a terminal pulled up. The buttons look a little bit different on VS Code, but you can have your file system here, your files will show up here, and your terminal down here to get everything what you need, where you need it. So let's see, to do this, we need to be able to, we actually have to have PreTeXt installed. And I happen to have PreTeXt installed. As we can see, I have version 0.5.1. So I'm going to, if you didn't have it installed, this is not going to go into all the details on how to do that, but you can Python m pip install PreTeXt book, and it's going to tell me that I've already got PreTeXt installed, and so it's not going to do a whole lot for me. But that's going to, hopefully, at least 80% of situations, say all my requirements are satisfied. It's just going to go through there. But if I didn't have PreTeXt book installed, that should be a very quick way to install it and get it available to you in your terminal. So I'm actually going to back out of that. I don't need to install it. I've already used it. So I already have it installed. So, well, I'm here in my user folder. Let's make a new PreTeXt document, PreTeXt new. And now I've got a new PreTeXt document in new PreTeXt document here. Oh, let's see here. It's not showing up for whatever reason. Maybe I can refresh here. Maybe I'll just open the folder. New folder. User, new PreTeXt document. Okay, so now we have our new PreTeXt document here. Let me get that terminal pulled back up. And so right now you've got this installed. You can, I'm not going to author anything new today. I'm just going to build a new PreTeXt document. So PreTeXt build and PreTeXt view. And I'm just going to click this link. It'll say something like localhost if you are doing this on your own computer, but CoCalc has a special CoCalc link. You can share this link with anybody who's logged into your into CoCalc and has access to your CoCalc project. But there's my great, open source textbook, the HTML version of it at least. So that's all well and good, but nobody else, it'll say localhost on my computer, or this CoCalc link is only limited to people who have access to this particular CoCalc project. I want to get this on the internet to share with everyone I know and love, to get a public link to my web version of my open source textbook. Okay, well, that is done with one line. It's just called PreTeXt publish. However, the project's not under Git Version Control. So I've got to go through two things today. I've got to get this project into Git Version Control. That's very easy. And then I've got to wire it up with GitHub Pages, which is a little bit more work. So let's do the Git Version Control first. I'm just going to write git init init. Git init initializes an empty Git repository. And then I'm going to... I think I could just do PreTeXt publish now. Of course. So I'm doing this live to get this video out to you guys. This is, like I said, a very fresh computer. There's a lot of things you have to do the first time that you just don't think about because you set it up once and then it works on that computer from there on forward here. So we've got an issue here. It's telling me a few different things that need to happen. Let's go through and see, let's bug fix this. Let me just try to set this up initially by itself. Git add -a gets all the files added to Git. Git commit -m initial commit. This is what that publish thing is trying to do in the background. And it's going to give me many of those same errors here. I need to tell them who I am. So I'm going to need to provide this information. But before I do that, I need to give the information associated with my GitHub account. So over here I have my GitHub account pulled up. As you can see, I've done a lot of stuff on Git before, but you can make your own GitHub account for free. I go to github.com, make your account. You'll have a username with it. And in particular, you're going to associate a certain email with that account. That's the email that we're going to want to use. So make your free GitHub account now and pause the video if you need to do that, if you're walking through this. And once you've made your GitHub account, grab that email that you used with that account, because that's what we're going to use back over here on our computer in the terminal. We're going to copy this line here, git config user email is my GitHub account uses this email. And then I'm going to do username, and I'm going to use the name I want to show up, just my own name. Now if I go back to git commit m initial commit, all right, it's done the create mode. So that's all well and good. I can try to pretext publish again. Okay, and so it's a little bit less error-y. You'll see here that it was trying to prepare to publish. And if I go to git log, we can see here that I made this initial commit, and it created this output folder. So this is actually, this docs folder. That's actually what's going to be shared. All the HTML is going to be shared on the public internet. It got moved to the docs folder. And so now it's ready to push to GitHub, and if this was on GitHub, we'd be able to see the website right now. However, it's unable to push to GitHub. Try running git push yourself. I could try running git push. Well, I don't have a remote. I know configured push destination. The remote is GitHub. Git is the software that runs on your computer. GitHub is the public website where you can share your work, and it'll share the GitHub pages publicly. So I need to add this remote. GitHub's going to tell me all the commands I have to put into the command line to make that work. So let's go over here to GitHub. I need to make a new repository using this plus. I'm going to make a new repository. No template, please. I don't know. I need some inspiration. Urban Octo Invention. Why not? You probably want to make this something related to your PreTeXt project, right? But I'm just doing this for demo purposes. Made for PreTeXt GitHub Pages video demo. It's going to be public. Initialize this repository. No, skip this step because I'm going to be importing an existing repository. I just want to create that repository. Quick note, your GitHub may look different than mine because I like to use dark mode. The default's probably light mode. Don't worry about that. That's not anything important. All right, quick setup. If you've done this kind of thing before, create a new, no, I'm going to push an existing repository. I did all that work. I'm going to just copy this right here. And if I paste that in, all right, git remote add, okay, git branch main. So that's another thing that it does is it makes the default branch terminology. You don't have to worry about this too much. It changes it from master, which is the default, to main, which is the more preferred default branch these days. And now I'm going to git push uorigin main. Okay. The authenticity of the host can't, yeah, I am cool with this. Yes, but it's not going to work. It's going to reject me. The reason why it's going to reject me, let's go back a step. First things first, I used SSH to do this process. You could switch to HTTPS. It changes this a little bit, but that's not recommended. That's not going to work for you in the long run. We're going to want to use SSH, and then that is going to cause us to have to do a couple extra steps. Again, it's a one-time process, however, and it's highly recommended. It's much more secure to use the SSH setup, so that's what we're going to use. So if you did what I did just a second ago, but it was set to HTTPS, I apologize. What you want to do is if you ever mess up your Git your Git setup, like I just did, if you set it up with HTTPS and I forgot to warn you, let's use SSH. We can always just start from scratch. Here's the command. Do not do this unless you're really certain you wanted to start over with the history of your project. So do this with a brand new Git installation only. Remove -rf.git. Only do this in the project if you're really, really sure, like I am right now, that I want to start over with all the Git stuff. I'm going to do that. So that's going to be, I have to reset this a little bit. I need to git init again. I need to git add -a to add all my files, and I want to git commit and initial commit. All right, so that sets all that back up. I need to do one more step. I need to go back over here now. I need to make sure I've selected SSH. I want to push the existing repository from the command line, and I'm going to now paste that back in. All right, all that went through. And again, I did do it correct. The same thing as last time. I did what I intended, which is set it up with SSH. Everything looked fine, except for I don't have the correct access rights. Notice that this, I never put in any password. How does GitHub know that this computer is actually me? And it doesn't yet. I need to go ahead and do that. So in order to do that, I need to go back over here to my GitHub, and I need to set it up so that it knows what computers are me. To do that, I'm going to go up to my user in the upper right. I'm going to go to my settings. I'm going to scroll down to the SSH keys. Now you'll see I have an existing SSH key that I use to talk to GitHub. That's on my main CoCalc account. However, I don't want to use that with this. This is a new computer. I want to get a new key. How do I set that up? Well, I'm going to make a new SSH key. All right. Add new. Oh my. How do I do this? All right, so there's a few things I need to do in order to set this up. I think they used to have a link here to help you. Maybe it's on the previous page. All right, here it is. Check out our guide to generating SSH keys. Let's do that. I want to generate SSH keys. I'm going to open that tab because I never can remember. Honestly, I don't remember how to generate SSH keys. It's this thing I do very rarely, connecting GitHub with SSH. So there is, right there on that page, a link to everything you need to know. Really, all I need to do, though, is I want to generate a new SSH key. Okay, so some details are going to vary based upon Mac, Windows, or Linux. So I'm going to leave it to you. I mean, very basic details, right? Actually, if you just see what's changing, it's really just the name of the thing, terminal, git bash, or terminal. So follow these instructions here. You can read through those when you click on that yourself. However, having done this a few times, I know really all I need to do is just copy this little bit of code right here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm just going to paste that into my terminal. SSH keygen, some stuff. I really should change this email, though, to the same email I'm using. The default file is certainly fine. If you have a bunch of SSH keys, you may want to customize that, but the default's going to be fine for most people. I can enter a passphrase. So if you want convenience, don't use a passphrase. Then you won't have to put in any passwords to talk to GitHub. However, if this is a computer that might be shared with another person, it's good to have a passphrase that locks this down. So that only you can actually use that SSH key. I'm going to actually, for this demo, not use a passphrase, however, because I am confident that I am the only person who can get to this computer. It is locked in my CoCalc account, or it's locked in my office. I feel pretty safe. I'm not going to use a passphrase. I'll just hit enter twice. Okay, and it does a few things. What's the important thing it does? Your public key has been saved in this file. I need to open up this file. So I can open, so one way or another, you can open the file in the editor like I just did, using that quick link in VS Code gave me. There's another nice trick you can do from the terminal. If you just select that file and type cat, and then paste that file in there, it'll display it here in the terminal. One way or the other, you need to grab all of that text and copy it. Go back to your GitHub SSH keys page, add a new SSH key. This is my PreTeXt demo key. I'll probably delete it after I'm done here. This is not a password. This is totally public. That's why it's called a public key. There's a private key that's hidden on your computer as well that I won't show anybody, because then you could hack into my GitHub account if I showed that to you, and I don't want to do that. This is meant to be public. So let me double check that so I don't have to cut the video. .pub. I definitely just got the public information here. No worries. Okay, so now I'm going to add my SSH key. I do need to confirm my access, so let me paste my password from my password manager into GitHub. This is the password that I used when I created my GitHub account. So if you just create your GitHub account, just use that password that you used for your GitHub. It'll ask you to do that whenever you do something damaging. You know, if I was not very careful on how I generated this, then I could be giving somebody illicit access to my GitHub account, and that would be bad. So now I've got that SSH key in there. I think I've got it all set up. If I go back to my VS Code, my local computer, however I want to do this, I can now just type pretext publish. Oh my goodness. Pushing to GitHub, unable to push to GitHub. Let's try running git push myself. I thought I had it done. It's because that initial setup I did. Let's go back to my new repository. You know, as I said, the first time I do this, I always forget some little detail. Let's go ahead and copy all this over. I believe it's, actually, I can check that I've added the remote by doing git remote. Yeah, so the origin's been added. That first line's been done. If I type git branch, I see that I'm on the main branch. It's just that last line. GitHub Pages or PreTeXt-CLI, the pretext publish method doesn't do this first bit for me. So let me just do that real quick. Git push u origin main. Beautiful. Branch main set to track remote branch. Now I have finally done it. I don't have to do any more Git stuff again. If I don't know what Git is still, I just know this is this thing that Steven's telling me to do to get my textbook on the internet. Then you don't have to worry about Git anymore. Just pretext publish. And now the latest build is successfully pushed to GitHub. It may take a few seconds. How do we see that? Well, let's go back over to my GitHub page, my brilliantly inventive name, Urban Octo Invention, and we see a bunch of things but have been pushed here. How the heck do I see this? So I'm gonna have to set up GitHub Pages now. So I'm gonna go to settings, down to pages, and source. The source is going to be the main branch, and I'm going to use the docs subfolder. These are the defaults that are used by the PreTeXt-CLI to make this very easy to update and create your GitHub pages. Now, it says your site is ready to be published at this public link. This is a link that anybody can go to on the internet. You can go to it right now, as long as I don't delete this, I suppose. But it's not published yet. It's just ready to be published. If I refresh, though, still not ready to be published. So it may just take a moment. It may depend. In fact, if I go back to my main page, we can see here this little yellow dot says, well, it was thinking about it, but now I think it's actually ready to be published. If I go back, hit refresh, my site is now published. So it just takes a moment. It takes a couple seconds. But if I click this link, there's my great book, but now it's at githubuser.github.io. This is a public link on the public internet that anybody can access, and it is perfectly public. So this is something you can share with your students, with your friends, with your enemies. Whoever wants to see your great book, they now have access to it. Let me then go back to my computer, and let's just kind of compare. We had this book right here, the front matter. This is the one that's on my computer. Oh, that link doesn't work because I didn't pretext view. Let's close this. I didn't mean to edit that. Oh, that's actually going to be a problem because I edited that file. Let me fix this real quick. I accidentally edited. Yeah, don't do that. Don't edit your public key. That's going to break your Git stuff. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to close this before I accidentally edit it again. All right. Apologies for that. So, pretext view. Let's compare. Pretext view, if you do that, you get your local host or your co-calc link. That's the one that's local. The github.io that you get from a pretext publish, now that you've done all this work in the past 15 minutes of this video, That's the one that's on the public. These are not always the same thing, right? Let's see what happens if I edit things. I go to the source of my book. First things first, I'm just going to change the title. That's all I'm going to mess with my book. My Great Book. This is My Great GitHub Pages Demo. VS Code automatically saves files as I edit. As you just saw a second ago, see it's been modified here. So that's been saved. If I go back to my local code calc link, that hasn't changed anything. The public website hasn't changed either. Okay, so what's happening? Well, I've edited the source, but I haven't built it. Those of you familiar with LaTeX are familiar. You can edit your LaTeX code, but you have to build it to PDF. You have to do this with PreTeXt as well. However, there is one nice little feature of the PreTeXt-CLI, PreTeXt View --watch. If your PreTeXt document is very, very small, this will get you live rebuilds. So now if I go back here and refresh, I can see my Great GitHub Pages demo. And now if I edit great to awesome, and it saves, you can see it was thinking down there, and I refresh, it's now awesome. So now if I'm using PreTeXt View Watch, I get those live updates. If your document gets much bigger, if it gets too big, then you don't want to do this pattern. You want to do a explicit. You can always type, go down here, Control-C to cancel. PreTeXt build will always build your file. Or a shortcut is PreTeXt View --build. That'll do a single build at the beginning and then give you your link. And then that will get you your updates here. However, this is my private computer or my private CodeCalc link. My public link hasn't been updated. It's because I haven't PreTeXt published yet. So once I've made this happy, this is my awesome GitHub Pages demo, and I think I like that title. I'm going to keep it. Then I want my public link to look like this one. All I have to do, Control-C, because I built it and I confirmed when I viewed that it looks the way I want it to look, just type PreTeXt publish. And my latest build has been successfully published to GitHub. Now, it may take a few seconds to reflect any changes, so I'm not going to refresh this link just yet on the public internet. Instead, if I'm really impatient, I can go back to my GitHub account. I can go to my repository that I named Urban Octo Invention. I should have given this a better name, like PreTeXt Project Demo. You can see here the green check mark. That means that my latest build that was 22 seconds ago has finished building. So now if I refresh over here, the public link at github.io does have the new, better, updated title. And so here is the summary. Once you've done all of the rigmarole I did at the beginning of the video to get that one-time setup of your project with GitHub, and this is what a lot of this is one-time setup for your computer with as many of these projects as you want to make. Then all I'll have to do is edit my source, my awesome, my tubular. That's what it's going to be. Edit your source, save your file, and then PreTeXt build or PreTeXt View Watch if it's a small project, or PreTeXt View build if you want to just do it once. You want to view it locally, my tubular GitHub Pages demo, but the public internet hasn't been updated yet, just the local. I need to update the internet, Control-C, PreTeXt publish, and that should make this public link match the private link. Once this check mark appears on my repository, it's still thinking about it. You can see here some checks haven't been completed yet. The page build is in progress. You can click the details. I'm a little patient. Oh, looks like it might be done now. If I refresh, tubular. All right, and that is the deal. This URL, your username.github.io/whatever you called your repository, that is where your files will be hosted. You can share that link with anybody on the internet and they'll be able to see your book. And if you want to make changes to it, updates to it, just run a little PreTeXt publish on your command line, and whatever you have locally working will be shared with the internet. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.